exactly? Can you tell me your name? Can you tell me what year it is?
What's wrong with me? Why don't I know who I am?
You may feel a little disoriented. You've been through a procedure.
What procedure? Face them. We have to figure out who we are.
Hey TV fans, Board now back with you, and let me talk to you about this fucking horseshit show which is Orphan Black Echoes. The first 2 episodes, I should say. I've seen the first 2, but the way it's going, it's not likely to get any better. So I am a massive Orphan Black fan, massive fan of the original show. Might be one of my favourite shows of all time, at least of recent stuff. I love Tatiana Maslany's performance in the lead role with all the multiple characters or sides of the character she has to play, and I think it's just a great sci-fi thriller. So a real gem of TV, and this is the reboot of it. It stars Christian Ritter in the lead role, so not a bad lead to have. In certain roles she can be effective. You've also got Keely Hawes, who I would watch read the phone book, but I do have a problem with her in this. Maybe more than one, but there is a set problem I'll get to. So I've watched the first 2 and I really hate it. It is really dull. It's fitting than in the UK, at least it's on ITVX, because it does feel like a soapy version of Orphan Black. There's just no life to it, no real style or mood. And it almost looks too clean and pretty at times. I know they're going for this more clinical feel, but the thing about the original show is it had that, but it also had this quite gritty, grimy, urban feel to it. And that really appealed because it grounded the characters. So in this, you just lose all sense of that, and you lose sense of what it's like to be in the lab, or the feel of the lab, because it just feels a bit too clean and pretty, and the lab scenes lose their sinister edge. So just to get into it a little bit, because at the start of the first episode we see Christian Ritter, her character Lucy, wake up, and she's disorganized or deorientated is the word I'm looking for. Obviously been drugged. You've got Keely Hawes there. We soon find out she's like the lead scientist on this project, and she tries to calm her down, but Lucy's having none of it. She doesn't remember anything that's happened, and it's a really melodramatic scene overall. Like, there's not bad tension in it, but like, it's very melodramatic. There's some bad and hammy acting in this scene. And I wonder about Christian Ritter, because she is good at playing a set sort of role. Like, she's good at playing the Jessica Jones type role, quite good at playing a very moody sort of bad girl, very sort of downbeat and sarcastic, which this character isn't, by the way, not so far. And she's a decent, like, kind of action star in that sense. So hopefully, as this goes on, she'll get more action to do, because she's quite good in that. But what she doesn't have is she doesn't have the range of Tatiana Maslany, and the emotional scenes that they're going for in this have really fallen flat with her. And it's not just her fault, because she's a decent enough actor. It's partly her acting, like her limitations, but it's also then the scenes are just so badly written and so cliched and so soapy. And yeah, just the whole feel of it. Like, this really doesn't feel like an Orphan Black show. I appreciate that they lean into the cloning thing very early on, so they're not dancing around that. The original series had the luxury of, like, we can build to this, we can keep quite a bit of mystery to it before we reveal anything. But the setup is then apparently this time the clones come from like a 3D printer, and they keep saying things like, I came from a printer, printed in a lab, and it's like, come on, man, this is just too on the nose. This is just like, okay, we're trying to be super modern, but it just doesn't have the same feel as the original. So after that scene where she escapes very easily, I might add, we get 2 years earlier, so we're going to build up to what we've seen there. And Christian Ritter's character Lucy, with a ridiculous neck scarf on, visits her, or she's living in the sticks with a guy who looks like a male model, like he's off a CW show. And he's got a mute daughter, so we see her sort of very settled family life. But like, clearly because she's got like memory loss and that, she is suppressing some stuff. We get some really bad like dream sequences that just hit you in the face, or like bad memories. And just the dialogue between this wooden CW type actor and Christian Ritter as Lucy is just so bad. Like, they're whispering to each other, and the thing is, Orphan Black shouldn't be soapy, and this is terrible anyway, but it shouldn't be soapy in any case. Or if it is soapy, it should be soapy in a way which is, it's character driven, it's very much focused on the character, but the soap stuff should come last. It shouldn't be the priority. The priority should be moving the plot forward, having fun character beats, and just having the twists and turns and the tensions. And this has its whole priorities backwards, because throughout these 2 episodes it wastes so much time on like pointless scenes and just going through the motions and plodding beats. And some of this stuff you could just cut out. It doesn't really mean anything. So at one point, a couple of guys come in and they go after her. We get a really bad chase scene through like a cornfield. And in the end, the twist is that the son saves her. Like, Lucy is about to be shot, but the mute son has got a hold of the shotgun and shoots this other guy. And to be fair, the scenes with Lucy and the mute child were quite well done. That was some of the better stuff in these episodes. But Lucy decides, for the sake of her family, she has to go away, she has to sort this out. And she actually wants to confront them and tell them to leave my family alone. This doesn't feel like the best plan to me. So let me get on a little bit to Keeley Hawes in this episode, or these 2 episodes, because I really loved Keeley Hawes. Man, do I have a crush on that woman. But anyway, her accent, because she's trying to do an American accent, and it's a bad American accent. You can see her slipping into the UK one. But it's one of my pet peeves. Just let her do her regular accent. What the fuck is it with this? Lots of people nowadays go and live in other countries and they travel, or if she's not been there that long, you could. It's like ridiculous. And when you find out who the character is, like, that makes sense, because I think in the original this character would have been, but even so, just let her do her regular accent, because this one sounds so bad. Whatever the case may be, you could write it that she went to the UK for a number of years. But I was wondering throughout the first episode if there's going to be much of a link to the original, and finally we get it at the end of the episode. It hits you like a a slap in the face, boom, because she starts talking to someone called Cosima, who of course was a regular character in the original show. And then we pan back and we get a shot at the photographs, which is like the original family from Orphan Black. So we see that she's related. And in the second episode, we find out then she is, I forget the daughter's name down. This is so annoying. Kara. Yeah, she's the daughter of the Tatiana Misani, Sarah's character from the original. So it's okay, we've got to work that in. But what's so funny is Phoenix makes an appearance, the brother makes an appearance in the second episode, and he walks in, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because he says monkey, which is a callback to the original show. That's what he always called Kira. But it's ridiculous because Keeley Hawes is about 10 years older, a little bit more than the actor who plays Phoenix. And yet we're meant to buy that he's her uncle. And the way they try and do this is they just stick like a dodgy looking old man beard on him to make him look older, and they give him like a fancy suit because he's now meant to be quite a fancy art dealer, and it's complete and utter bollocks. No one's buying it. It looks so hokey and bad, and like we then get really tedious, pointless scenes with them where they go to a nightclub for no apparent reason, but I guess the reason is because Kira wants to score some cocaine because she's just depressed. And this is what I'm talking about, is why are we wasting time on them going to a nightclub for no good reason? It seems like, just get on with the plot. There's no time for this. And then conveniently they bump into her son in the nightclub because she has a son, and when she goes off to the bathroom or something, Phoenix is talking to the son saying, I just want to make sure your mother is alright. And damn, it's so tedious. The second episode is even more tedious. And on the other side of the plot, because they just say things, they make the science really dull as well, because there's a line, something about making sure the printers are okay or something, and they just make the science really dull. At one point you've got, because Reed Diamond in it, and he's playing a handler, or an agent, a handler / agent, he always plays those sorts of roles. And at one point him and another agent, because when they're trying to track down Lucy, because there's a thing with another girl who Lucy kidnaps, but when they're trying to track them down, they go to some guy who's meant to be behind the whole thing, who is bringing up turtles, and then there's lots of talk about turtles, and it's like, what the fuck, can we just get on with the plot now? So that's another pretty pointless scene. So as I said, jumping to the other side of the plot, Lucy actually kidnaps a girl. Because of course she does. That's going to make the character feel sympathetic and likeable, because this girl comes to her in a vision. So the girl is called Jules, and it turns out they've got the same mark on her arm, and Jules is rightly acting quite aggressive and uptight. I mean, she's a teen, but it's like, when Lucy kidnaps her, it's like, no. Because obviously, like in the original, Sarah would have done things that were a bit off kilter, and it's like, okay, but they're within reason, especially for what she's going through, and they just feel like a little bit more harmless in comparison. But it's like this, just kidnapping a kid and then acting like the kid is the villain, because it turns out she has ties to it, but like it's hardly her fault. And And as the scenes go on, the kid is like very annoying and very one note, very grating, and it turns out she is innocent in the sense she doesn't know about her past. She doesn't know about how she got the same tattoo as Sarah. And there's just conspiracy stuff going on in the background where it seems, because she's from like an adopted family. And we go home with her later on once she I can't remember if she lets her go or I think she escaped. Oh yeah, because at one point Lucy takes her to this Greg guy who's like an old hippie who helped Lucy years ago. And I'm not making any of this bullshit up, by the way. And he's a pretty one-note dull character. But they go to him, and that's when they're holding like Jules up, and it escalates from there where she escapes and stabs Lucy and with something. And Lucy weirdly goes back to the farm to get patched up, and then she takes male model boyfriend to like the lab where the printer is, where she was produced, and nothing really means anything in this show because she starts telling him willy-nilly about what happened to her and her backstory, and it doesn't seem like a big deal to him. Like, nothing's really sold in this scene or in many of the scenes. So we see a little bit of Jules at home, and she's got a bit of a rough life. It seems that her father isn't so enthusiastic. You get one of those cliched scenes where she happens to overhear the adopted parents talking. There's some like forced hipster bullshit with her adopted, I think, brother, who's like a stand-up comedian who quotes George Carlin. This is terrible. This is god awful. And the end of the episode sort of reveals that the person who she thinks is her uncle, or like adopted uncle, whatever you want to say, then he's putting on the show as well, because she sort of FaceTimes him and he comes up with an excuse from her childhood or a reason why she got burnt and got the scar. And then when they hang up, like, he's in a room with like other people and says she's asking too much questions, and it's almost like a set type thing. So that's sort of revealed then he's in on the lie as well, because it turns out the company in the show is linked to this family, because at one point Lucy breaks into the lab way too easily, I might add, and sees the files, sees the photo on the desk, then this family is all in the picture in front of the building. So that's the first 2 episodes of Orphan Black Echoes. I guess if I wanted to make myself suffer, I could watch the rest, but I'll see how it goes. But yeah, absolute dog shit, total turd of a show. So let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comments below. Like and subscribe as always, and support me for as little as $1 a month on patreon.com/borednow. Keep watching TV, and I'll see you guys soon.